career paths are weird. No lie. It's not easy to transition after a long period of time. But, if you don't try something new, you don't grow and you don't continue to develop. And I think that's important.
So in your career, at what point when you were there for 17 years did you say, you know what, Steve, time for us to make a change?
Yeah, career paths are weird. I don't know if I knew what mine was going to be. I think early on I was really impatient. I wanted to continue to advance and take on more responsibilities. And in my mind, I was going to be that CEO of a hospital, and that required me to move around a lot. And with a young family, that was kind of stressful and painful. I never wanted to be in a really large city. And so advancement meant moving your geography, and then I got to that point where I was a hospital president, and you know what? It didn't really fill my cup, so to speak, because it wasn't a larger system. And so my ability to really impact change and drive strategy wasn't there. And so that's when I joined Mankato Clinic, which was, a physician-owned multi-specialty group, and had a great 17-year career there as their chief financial officer. It was a really hybrid role. It was beyond just regular finance. I had a lot of operational areas and experience, and got to work with a group that had been around over 100 years and were passionate about what they did and serving their community, and really had an opportunity to learn and grow and flourish in my career in terms of, how are we going to stay viable in a world that is kind of against you from a healthcare perspective, and move as many barriers as we could to allow our physicians and practitioners to deliver that care and serve the patients in our region, and compete, head to head with a pretty large health system with probably the best known name in healthcare right across the street. And we did it great. I mean, we outperformed them on the quality side of things, and transparency helped because we were a lower cost option in the region. And, our size allowed us to be nimble and creative and develop new services and reach out to patients. And yeah, it was fantastic. And, from a personal family life, it allowed my kids to grow up in one place, and early on when we moved, they were little, and kids are pretty malleable. They can adapt and adjust. Although when we first came to town and, watching my youngest go to kindergarten, that was no big deal. But, my oldest one starting off in third grade and not knowing anybody, it was like, oh my gosh, this is hard, and walking in line by himself. But, at the end of the day, he's out there joking around with all the kids, and they adapt way quicker than us adults.
Yes.
But, I guess it was fortunate. I continued to be professionally rewarded for that period of time, and challenged, and was able to stay put, keep loving to do what I do and let my family kind of stay in one place.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think at some point you just kind of feel like, what's next? And I was ready for that next challenge, and things really worked out great. I knew in my heart that I could only work in an independent, physician-owned organization, because just no comparison. It's just a complete difference if you're someone who is driven and likes to get stuff done, and not waddle through politics and bureaucracy. But no lie, it's not easy to transition after a long period of time. You get to a point where everybody, you have confidence, you built high performing teams around you, and you're able to do things pretty easily and efficiently, and you start over, and sometimes you don't even know where the bathroom is, let alone who you need to work with to get things done. And so I remember coming home after my very first day, and I don't know how it shows up here, but my face was white. I mean, it was just this overwhelming day of, I thought I knew what I was doing, and all of a sudden it sounds familiar, but
right.
Gosh, it's just a whirlwind to change. But, if you don't try something new, you don't grow and you don't continue to develop. And I think that's important. You can't get stagnant in anything. And I had an opportunity to join an independent orthopedic practice. Oddly enough, coming from multi-specialty, orthopedics was not one of them. So
2026, the talent market is still unfortunately candidate driven. And that creates issues of compression with your current team and what they're making. And then if you are hiring, what you're bringing in the new person at. Obviously, experience plays a huge role in this, but there's also kind of a general guideline that we can follow. And lucky for you, I've created a free copy of salary averages for PAs by state. So if you're listening and you're curious and want to have that copy, whether you're hiring or wanting to just compare and kind of see where you align, then feel free to reach out to me and I'll send you a free copy. Madison@advancedscopetalent.com. I was going to ask you that because I remember you mentioning that beforehand, which is Which is amazing because, I mean, orthopedics in itself, you talk about healthcare being nuanced. Orthopedics is very nuanced.
Yeah. You know what, though? It's been amazing. And I think within the first week, it clicked for me.
Yeah.
And I've always talked about the ability in healthcare that we have to make a difference in our patients' lives and really have that impactful moment. And I listened to some of our surgeons here, and a couple things stuck out for me. One, I never heard the word burnout. And I had heard that a lot, especially in the years since the pandemic. In the group I was with, I mean, physicians were burnt out by all the things putting on them. I wasn't hearing that here at all. And what I was hearing was, I love what I do because I get to fix people. And it didn't really resonate to me until we had a dialogue. And, orthopedic surgery, you come in with a problem, they fix you.
Yeah. That's
You know,
yeah.
you need a new hip, you get a new hip. And your life changes and you can live your life stronger. And that doesn't exist in other specialties. You treat a patient with diabetes, you treat them for the rest of their lives. Yes, you make them better, but you don't fix them. And so I can understand how rewarding it is to these surgeons and the career path they've taken.
Mm-hmm.
And you really see that throughout the organization. It's just pretty cool. It's kind of fun to be a part of.
It is.